Shalom, my name is Adam, and I welcome you to the parable of the Vineyard. Every day, Yahuwah is waking up a remnant, a group of people who are coming out of deceptions, realizing our walk is to consist of faith and obedience to His righteous commands. Each week, we read through and examine a portion of the Torah, allowing the Spirit of the Most High to guide, teach, and open our eyes and ears to the wondrous matters out of His law. Join us as we seek to be refined by His Word, preparing ourselves for the return of our King of Kings, being faithful and obedient, walking in His way, truth, and life. Hey, Shabbat Shalom, and welcome back, brothers and sisters. Welcome to the Parable of the Vineyard. This is week 48. We're going to be covering Deuteronomy 16:18 through 21:9. Further emphasis on leadership, structure, order within Yah's house. I think this is a really good, important Torah portion for the Most High's assembly in these days. Often what I see, especially in home group fellowships, is typically coming from a softer, meek heart, is like, hey, Messiah is a leader. None of us are. And I can definitely understand the meekness of lowering oneself and not taking up titles and things like that. However, if we continue to diligently study the Word, we'll see that structure, leadership, order is necessary within the house of Yah. We know that Yah picked David, a man after his own heart, a shepherd, to care for his flock. There's lots of parables to be found within caring for animals, making sure, specifically sheep, making sure the fences are stable to keep predators out, wolves, making sure that their water is clean, that it nourishes them, it's not going to bring diseases and damage, making sure that there's plenty of food and it's clean food and good food that will nourish their bodies and not refuse. And so when we have men who should be as leaders among the group, they're like, no, not me, well, just Messiah. Well, that's basically like saying, hey, none of us are going to take care of the sheep pen. We'll just let it be as it is, because there needs to be someone who's accountable. It's not a matter of if the adversary is going to try to come in and break up fellowship, wedges, divides. It's just a matter of when. And so we need to have the structure and order in place to combat the enemy. We know that Messiah combated the enemy with the Torah itself, and no doubt this is a way we can keep the enemy at the gates and out of the gates, and keep him out of our camps, keep him out of our fellowships by standing for right ruling, and Yahweh will do the sifting himself. And so really important Torah portion, just reminding us of the importance of leadership. We'll share some even the passages in the New Testament that shows that that process continued. Maybe some different names were given, elders, deacons, in most of our modern day translations, but nevertheless, structure and order exists. So let's pray. We'll blow the shofars and we'll get started. Sorry, it was a little bit of a discussion beforehand. I thought it might be necessary though. So let's pray. Heavenly Father, Most High, we just bless you. Thank you for the opportunity to be alive in these last days, to where you're going to do your amazing work in the eyes of your people. We know that you are Elohim, and we're thankful for the blood of Yahusha. We're thankful for your Torah, and we just want to follow his example, walking in his footsteps, laying down our lives, and walking in your way, truth, and life. And we just ask that you'd give us rain in due season and give us understanding and cultivation in our heart that would bring forth the fruits of obedience and love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, gentleness, long-suffering, goodness, self-control. Help us, Father, to grow and to be nourished and to be conformed to the image of Messiah Yahusha. Amen. Shabbat Shalom. All right, let's get those shofars ready. Praise Yah. All right, hallelujah. All right, so let's get to Deuteronomy 16. 18, and we're going to read through the end of chapter 16, discuss it real quick, then we'll move on to 17 until we're finished with this Torah portion. So let us begin. Praise Deuteronomy 16.
Judges and officers shall you make you in all your gates, which Yahweh Elohika gives you, throughout your tribes. and they shall judge the people with just judgment. You shall not wrest judgment. You shall not respect persons, neither take a gift. For a gift blinds the eyes of the wise, and perverts the words of the righteous. That which is altogether just shall you follow, that you may live, and inherit the land which Yahweh Elohika gives you. You shall not plant an Asherah pole of any trees near unto the altar of Yahweh Elohika, which you shall make. Neither shall you set up any image which Yahweh Elohika hates.
Okay, praise Yah, short little clip here, but obviously incredibly important. Want to take a look at biblical leadership. And so I was talking about the enemy and the gates, and that's basically what he wants to do. He wants to get in the gates, get inside, drive wedges, create divisions. And so I've been witness that once we started doing this, having real elders, hands laid on them, like we'll see, and still happen in the book of Acts, and having like a council, right, that hears matters out impartially. I've seen Yahweh do his work. He's like, just trust me, just do what I ask you to do. And so I just, again, a call out there to anyone that has fellowships, even like Zoom, even if it's just Zoom fellowships, wherever kind of fellowship you have, there's got to be someone accountable that knows the word and knows how to hear a matter out, hear on both sides, and not take in friendships or favoritism, male or female, financial status, how wild their testimony is, and how needy they are. It doesn't matter. Like, Yahweh's Torah is righteous, and if we alter what he says to do in light of any of that, and I've come to find out that even when it comes to, let me get right to it. In the world around us, you see this a lot in our natural world. I think a lot of us are just of the understanding that you have these big corporations that kind of buy people out, and just to get to the point, I mean, there's different levels of it, different levels of influence, but we see that, and we know that exists in the world. But I think what's a little less obvious and a little sneakier, what I've seen is, and this is how the enemy works, he'll sometimes take people that are needy and in broken situations that, and he will use that and manipulate that to get Yah's people to pervert justice. And what do I mean? It's like let's say someone who is really needy, really poor, but transgresses, and there should be repercussions, but you're like, they just have a really, really hard testimony, and they've got, they really had it hard. Listen, I know that comes from a good place to have mercy and compassion, but it's like, if we, and obviously I'm overgeneralizing, and I'm not saying to not have compassion or mercy, that exists as well. But what I'm saying is if there's like no repentance, if there's no real taking ownership of accountability, if there's just this skirting, and it's like, and then you let them also slide because like, they've got this really hard situation, even though it may seem like kind and soft in your mind, what ends up happening is perverting the justice of Yahweh. And so it's not easy. It's not easy when these polar opposites exist. Mercy, judgment exists. But this is why a righteous judge, and we'll see it a little bit later on, makes diligent inquisition, hears both sides out before making a decision, doesn't just take one party's witness, even one side's multiple witnesses, and doesn't even hear the other side, and then just goes and, perverts judgment. Like, we have to be really careful here when we're sitting in the seat of judgment. And that's why Yahusha says to literally make sure your own eye is clear first. Then he doesn't say, like, don't judge anybody and like just let everyone kind of flounder around in their sins and waywardness. That's not what he's saying. That's not love either. But how can we righteously correct somebody if our own eyes haven't been cleansed first, to be able to see truth, to be able to see his Torah, to even know what right ruling is? How are you judging someone if you don't even know what that is? But once that is established, once somebody can see the Torah of Yahweh, knows that to be impartial and then they can assist others, and that's why someone that is knowledgeable in the Word, and we'll read a little bit later in First Timothy. Some of the other characteristics that have to accompany it, because I've seen firsthand people that are incredibly intelligent in the Word, highly memorized in it, knows it like the back of your hand, but the fruits of the Spirit are rotten. There's no joy, peace, patience, kindness, gentleness, long-suffering, self-control. So it's almost like, what good is that? And a lot of times you see people using the knowledge they have to pervert. I mean, even we know Satan knows Scripture very well, and hasn't he used it for a lot of evil? Didn't the Dark Ages, wasn't that full of using the word for evil? So, anyways, so let's take a look at biblical leadership. Titus 1, verse 5. For this cause left I you in Crete, that you should set in order the things that are wanting, and ordain elders in every city, as I had appointed you. If any be blameless, the husband of one wife, having faithful children, not accused of riot or unruly. For a bishop must be blameless, the steward of Elohim, not self-willed. And this is highly important. I've seen this. Someone who's just mainly concerned about them in their own house. It's like, how can you even have time to care, you know? And like, I totally understand what he's saying here. Even people that are like, oh, well, what about, David and Abraham and other people that had multiple? Yeah, I hear you. But I mean, how is someone going to even have time, with all these things going on? And if you're self-motivated and care about self, it's like, how do you even have time to care about all the needs? Because people are people. Just because we come in and have belief in Messiah and come to the knowledge of the Torah, it doesn't make the daily issues of life go away. It doesn't make pride, jealousy, envy go away. It doesn't make... Now, that's our job, is to root these things out. But the point is that this, especially at this phase of the movement, I mean, most of us are just babies waking up. If we're born again, a spiritual sense, like, a lot of us are pretty young, But nevertheless, Yahweh is and will continue to raise up leaders, because his heritage needs caring for. So not self-willed, not soon angry. So obviously not hot-tempered, right? It's not that anger can't ever exist. I mean, we see Yahweh gets angry. Moses, he got angry and he struck the rock, so that wasn't a good example, right? Phinehas got angry and zealously, but anyways, but not soon angry. So obviously not hot-tempered, not given to wine, not striker, not given to filthy lucre, not money-driven. And that doesn't mean that that money doesn't exist. It's just, this is a love for and a drive for money, and the focus being money. But a lover of hospitality, a lover of good men, sober, just, holy, temperate, holding fast the faithful word as he has been taught, that he may be able by sound doctrine both to exhort and to convince the gainsayers. For there are many unruly and vain talkers and deceivers, especially they of the circumcision. And that's kind of what we see even today. Paul really knew what he's talking about. I would, just from my own perception, and I'm 44 years old, and I don't know that I've been more rudely and treated, backstabbed, gossiped, slandered about by anyone other than people that say they're followers of Messiah and keepers of the Torah. I've not experienced this level of, just hatred. But that's why it's wheat and tares, sheep and goats. It's like a huge divide, and I'll stick to it. Some of the best people I've ever met in my entire life that I know Yahusha died for, and we should have the same kind of notions of love and guarding for. I've met some of the best people I've ever met, also in this walk. So, but nevertheless, the point is that Paul is noting that some of the most unruly and vain and deceitful people are people within this walk, whose mouths must be stopped, who subvert whole houses, teaching things which they ought not, for filthy lucre's sake. One of themselves, even a prophet of their own, said, the Cretians are always liars, evil beasts, slow bellies. This witness is true. Wherefore rebuke them sharply, that they may be sound in the faith, not giving heeded Jewish fables, commandments of men, that turn from the truth. Unto the pure all things are pure, but unto them that are defiled and unbelieving is nothing pure, but even their mind and their conscience is defiled. They profess that they know Elohim, but in works they deny him, being abominable, disobedient unto every good work, reprobate. And here in Acts 14:21, we'll see that after preaching the gospel and forming an assembly, you'll see right away. So verse 21, and when they had preached the gospel to that city and had taught many, and they returned again to Lystra and to Iconium and to Antioch, confirming the souls of the disciples and exhorting them to continue in the faith, and that we must through much tribulation enter into the kingdom of Elohim. So gird up your loins, brothers and sisters. And when they had ordained them elders in every church and had prayed with fasting, they commended them to Yahweh, whom they believed. And so this is still a pillar of the faith. And here, Messiah also here encourages obeying leadership, but righteous leadership. Matthew 23:1-12. Then spake Yahusha to the multitude and to his disciples, saying, the scribes and the Pharisees sit in Moses' seat. All therefore whatsoever they bid you to observe, that observe and do. So they're like, hey, leaders that tell you to obey the Torah, obey them in what they say. But do not after their works, for they say and do not. For they bind heavy burdens and grievous to be borne, and lay them on men's shoulders, but they themselves will not move them with one of their fingers. But all their works they do for to be seen of men. They make broad their phylacteries, enlarge the borders of their garments, and love the uppermost rooms at feasts, and the chief seats in the synagogues, and greetings in the markets, and to be called of men, Rabbi, Rabbi. Right? These are people that relish in the love and praise of man. But be not called Rabbi, for one is your master, even Mashiach, and you are all brethren. And call no man your father upon earth, for one is your Father, which is in heaven. Neither be called masters, for one is your master, even Mashiach. But he that is greatest among you shall be your servant. And so this, he just tells you right here, like the leader, people who lead, the whole point of you leading is to serve. And obviously I think we get that through his Messiah's ministry. And whoever shall exalt himself shall be abased, and he that shall humble himself shall be exalted. And then here, we know that Peter was chief of the apostles, John 21:15. So when they had dined, Yahusha said to Simon Peter, Simon, son of Jonas, do you love me more than these? He said to him, yea, master, you know that I love you. He said unto him, feed my lambs. Right? So this is that shepherd mentality. He said to him again the second time, Simon, son of Jonas, do you love me? He said unto him, yea, master, you know that I love you. He said unto him, feed my sheep. He said unto him the third time, Simon, son of Jonas, do you love me? Peter was grieved because he said unto him the third time, do you love me? And he said to him, Master, you know all things. You know that I love you. Yahusha said to him, feed my sheep. So this is like, I'm sure people can draw some really deep spiritual parallels here and some deep things, but man, I really take this really, really literally. I guess it's figurative because his people are not actual sheep; they're people. But I don't know, to guard, like how we would guard sheep. I mean, you just let sheep just roam. Especially here, like in the Missouri Ozarks, they're not going to last long in the woods. Isn't that where we are in the time frame we live in? Isn't this the darkest time of all? Isn't this the sickest time of all? I mean, how many millions of thousands of children lose their lives every day through, sacrifice? That's just one topic of all kind of the detestable things that go on all day long, and not to mention that 3/4 of the population does not believe in salvation through Yahusha. The 25% that does, what percentage of that believes to honor him and keep his commandments, as he said? 1%, 2%, less than that? It's a dark world, and so if that's the case, his sheep need to be fed. His sheep need to be fed and guarded and protected and loved and nurtured, and there needs to be somebody there to hear out a matter impartially. Like, aren't you guys sick of, partial judges and courts that aren't full of justice? Like, I don't know. So this has got to start somewhere. Ezekiel 34, 1 through 6. And the word of Yahweh came unto me, saying, Son of man, prophesy against the shepherds of Israel. Prophesy and say to them, Thus says Yahweh Elohim to the shepherds, Woe be to the shepherds of Israel that do feed themselves. Should not the shepherds feed the flocks? You eat the fat, you clothe you with the wool, you kill them that are fed, but you feed not the flock. The diseased have you not strengthened, neither have you healed that which was sick, neither have you bound up that which was broken, neither have you brought again that which was driven away, neither have you sought that which was lost, but with force and with cruelty have you ruled them. So obviously we can compare and contrast the Pharisees that were all self-absorbed, looking about themselves, only care about themselves, making sure, and really trotting underfoot the poor. I mean, he says in another place, you devour widows' houses and for a pretense make a long prayer. And so obviously Messiah, he's like the true leadership, cares about the broken, the sick. In our days, there's no lack of widows and orphans and fatherless children and the downtrodden and the outcasts and the lowly. And he says, and they were scattered because there was no shepherd, and they became meat to all the beasts of the field when they were scattered. I mean, isn't that really also Yahusha's mission? Didn't he come not just to heal us, but to raise up other shepherds to be like him? Isn't this the time? Is this not the time that he has chosen you men out there to be raised up as shepherds, even if at minimum for your own household, and then those of you who are in fellowship? The time is now. He needs leaders to care about the right things. My sheep wandered through all the mountains and upon every high hill. Yea, my flock were scattered upon all the face of the earth, and none did search or seek after them. They cared about self. And you see it also in Isaiah. This is kind of off notes. You see this in Isaiah 56, and I really think about this especially in the digital age. And I've talked to different ministries, and I'm just going back and forth and just sharing them our testimony here and encouraging them to join in the fight and caring for a portion of Yah's flock, because people need in-person wellowship. I mean, that's just where we were created. We were not created to just hang out on the internet. I'm not downing anyone's little bit of fellowship they have. So if you're like, hey, Adam, I'm going to cling on to my Zoom fellowship because that's all I got, I hear you. It's where my walk started, but I hope you thirst for more. I hope you thirst for in-person fellowship, because I'll tell you, it's when you have groups of people, even if it's just a handful, when you have groups of people coming together in the name of Yahweh and to praise him, to glorify him, to sing songs to him, to eat and rejoice in his honor, it's nothing like it. But so we just read about how the false shepherds, Isaiah 56, we'll start at verse 8. So Yahweh Elohim, which gathers the outcasts of Israel, says, Yet I will gather others to him beside those that are gathered unto him. Certainly, right? The downtrodden, the fishermen, the one whom 7 devils came out of, the lowly, the outcasts, the sick, the poor, the blind, the maimed. Those are the ones who loved him and followed him 2,000 years ago, and those are the ones who are clinging to him again. All you beasts of the field come, devour, yea, all you beasts of the forest. Right? So again, what happens to sheep without fences in the forest? They get devoured. Right? His watchmen are blind, they're ignorant, they're all dumb dogs, they cannot bark, sleeping, lying down, loving to slumber. Yea, they're all greedy dogs, which can never have enough, and they are shepherds that cannot understand. They all look to their own way, so they only care about their own household. In large, everyone for his gain from his quarter. So it's like this distance. No. I just want to just stay online and just teach everyone doctrine from afar. Right? Come ye, they say, I will fetch wine. We will fill ourselves with strong drink, and tomorrow shall be as this day and much more abundant. So it's like, I just want to sit for my own comfort at my own home and just doctrine, right? Only caring about them in their own way. So it's time for Yahweh. He's raising up shepherds to be like David, that care about the flock and really actually walk in that. All right. So again, right ruling, you can't, he says it in another place that you can't respect the face of the rich or the poor. So we know it's very easy for people to fall into a trap of, like, hey, rule in my favor and I'll give you a stack of money. Right. And so that's very like, no, I won't do that. But what about the thought that enters in people's minds? And I think this is again why the devil has used this over and over again. It's like the same play. He'll use like even the poor and downtrodden to test, to see if people will wrest the judgment or change the judgment of Yahweh and be like, so and so is poor. Let me, I'll skip right ruling. And if I'm loosely remembering, didn't Satan come to Job's door as a beggar? And if you can wrap your mind around that, that's kind of what I'm trying to say here. All right, let's go to Deuteronomy 17.
Devarim, Deuteronomy chapter 17. You shall not sacrifice unto Yahweh Elohika any bullock or sheep wherein is blemish, or any evil favoredness, for that is an abomination unto Yahweh Elohika. If there be found among you within any of your gates which Yahweh Elohika gives you, man or woman, that has wrought wickedness in the sight of Yahweh Elohika, in transgressing his covenant, and has gone and served other Elohim and worshipped them, either the sun or moon or any of the host of heaven which I have not commanded, and it be told you, and you have heard it, and inquired diligently, and behold, if it be true, and the thing certain, that such abomination is wrought in Yashrael, then you shall bring forth that man or that woman which have committed that wicked thing unto your gates, even that man or woman, and shall stone them with stones till they die. At the mouth of 2 witnesses or 3 witnesses shall he that is worthy of death be put to death. But at the mouth of 1 witness he shall not be put to death. The hands of the witnesses shall be first upon him to put him to death, and afterward the hands of all the people. So you shall put the evil away from among you. If there arise a matter too hard for you in judgment, between blood and blood, between plea and plea, and between stroke and stroke, being matters of controversy within your gates, then you shall arise, and get you up into the place which Yahweh Elohika shall choose. And you shall come unto the priests the Leviim, and unto the judge that shall be in those days, and inquire, and they shall show you the sentence of judgment, and you shall do according to the sentence, which they of that place which Yahweh shall choose shall show you. And you shall guard to do according to all that they inform you, according to the sentence of the Torah which they shall teach you, and according to the judgment which they shall tell you, you shall do. You shall not decline from the sentence which they shall show you, to the right hand nor to the left. And the man that will do presumptuously, and will not hearken unto the priest that stands to minister there before Yahweh Elohika, or unto the judge, even that man shall die. And you shall put away the evil from Yashrael. And all the people shall hear and fear, and do no more presumptuously. When you are come unto the land which Yahweh Elohika gives you, and shall possess it, and shall dwell therein, and shall say, I will set a king over me, like as all the nations that are round about me. You shall in any wise set him king over you, whom Yahweh Elohika shall choose. One from among your brethren shall you set king over you. You may not set a stranger over you, which is not your brother. But he shall not multiply horses to himself, nor cause the people to return to Mitzrayim, to the end that he should multiply horses. For as much as Yahweh has said unto you, ye shall henceforth return no more that way. Neither shall he multiply women to himself, that his heart turn not away. Neither shall he greatly multiply to himself silver and gold. And it shall be, when he sits upon the throne of his kingdom, that he shall write him a copy of this Torah in a sefer, out of that which is before the priests, the Leviim. And it shall be with him, and he shall read therein all the days of his life, that he may learn to fear Yahweh Elohenu, to guard all the words of this Torah, and these statutes, to do them, that his heart be not lifted up above his brethren, and that he turn not aside from the commandment, to the right hand or to the left, to the end that he may prolong his days in his kingdom, he and his children in the midst of Yashrael.
Okay, interesting chapter. And on the surface, there seems to be a contradiction, which those of you who do believe that the scriptures we have today is the word of Yah, I believe that's to be true, minus maybe some translational errors and biases, but I believe we have the word passed down to us. And so you have this, which is such a large portion about kings, and very specifically, it literally says, you shall have a king. And then, of course, Yahweh goes on to say that he chooses. But we read in Samuel, and it's like Samuel got so upset that they wanted a king. And so you're like, wait a minute, well, which one is it? Was Samuel right in his day for them not to have a king? Or was it eventual that they would have a king anyways? And so the best understanding I have is that the people in Samuel's day did not have the right heart about even having the king. Ultimately, I think they were rejecting Yahweh in the succession of order of ultimately who has the power, who ultimately has the authority. And, some of the stuff I want to go through is that I think David exemplifies that. David exemplified the viceroy concept. David was in charge of Yahweh's people, and ultimately, since the throne of David ruled over the nations the known nations at that point, he was ruler over the nations with the other nations in subjection to him. But ultimately, we see the life of David, and we'll read those examples where Yahweh, he's like, who's king? I mean, you're king. I take all my orders from you. So it's this like succession, and you see Yahusha doing the same thing. He is king of the world. He's our creator. He's our God. But he gave all credit to his father, right? And so there's this like same kind of succession we see. And so, we'll get to that here in a second. But going back to just real quickly, obviously we know that our sacrifices are spiritualized, especially our remorse for sin, and ultimately our whole lives have to be an offering for him. Romans 12, I mean, how can you talk about a spiritual offering and not read Romans 12, 1 through 2? It says, I beseech you therefore, brethren, by the mercies of Elohim, that you present your bodies a living sacrifice, holy, acceptable to Elohim, which is your reasonable service. And be not conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind, that you may prove that it is good, acceptable, and perfect will of Elohim. So literally, I think Paul does a much better job, if I can, of summarizing that our whole lives need to be offerings to Yahweh, and of course, done in a clean manner. And Hebrews 12:1, wherefore, seeing also we are encompassed about with so great a cloud of witnesses, let us lay aside every weight and the sin which does so easily beset us, and let us run with patience the race that is set before us. So we need to be a spotless offering. And so do we all come into this walk immediately and become spotless? No, evidently not. I can attest to that as well. But nevertheless, every year that I'm in this, every year I want to set my face firmly in the direction of I want to be perfect. And we'll read the verses later where Messiah even calls us to be perfect. But going back to the judges and leadership from last chapter, this is really important. Verse 4, whatever the matter is. So this is an extreme matter that you have a breakaway from your community, from your, this is the kingdom of Israel. You have a breakaway society here that's going to serve other gods. That's an extreme thing, and it says, if you've heard of it, inquire diligently. And so this is not just some like, oh yeah, they're guilty. Let's go do, or hey, you're right. Like, hey, like let's interview the witnesses. Let's hear both sides. Obviously, what did that look like before? Did they walk up to the other town with a clipboard and be like, hey, are you guys serving the sun, moon, and stars? Okay, I'll be back. So I'm not trying to be mocking or being silly, but obviously we have to use our wisdom and discernment of what that looks like today about inquiring diligently. But especially in our assemblies, it's typically it's not far beyond us to have a conversation with both sides. Let's cut to the chase here, and especially when judging somebody or So inquire diligence in all matters, and so even if it's this extreme, shouldn't there be diligence even in smaller matters too? I would say yes. So obviously, legal decisions by the priests, the judges. Who are the priests and judges today? I would I would submit that it would be the assembly leaders, your elders. I don't know if people still say deacons and things like that. We don't really use terms like that. We have leadership, and then we have council members here. I guess the leaders would be like elders, and then the council members would be like deacons. I don't know. We don't really go by those terms here, but there is like levels of accountability, I guess, structure. Just like you see in the first part of Deuteronomy 1, captains of tens, 50s, hundreds, and thousands. You got to pass on the word. You got to have accountability, and yeah. But yeah, but this is assuming that the priesthood is true and righteous and knows the word of Yahweh. And this is why perverting judgment was one of the biggest sins of Israel alongside the Sabbath and idolatry. Malachi 2:4-10, and you shall know that I have sent this commandment unto you, that my covenant might be with Levi, says Yahweh of hosts. My covenant was with him of life and peace, and I gave them to him for the fear wherewith he feared me and was afraid before my name. The law of truth was in his mouth, and iniquity was not found in his lips. He walked with me in peace and equity. This is equality. The motto of this country, justice for all, indivisible. That comes from the Torah. But obviously, we're living in a time where they've taken some precepts of that, but have perverted it in other ways. But nevertheless, peace and equity, and that's who we're supposed to be. We're supposed to be equalizers. We're supposed to make straight a way for the master in the desert. The mountains shall be, the hills shall be lowered, the valleys shall be exalted, right? To make it equal so that it doesn't matter your status. You get equal right ruling. And I love Abba for that, and you should as well. And that's why David praised him 7 times a day for his right rulings. And did turn many away from iniquity. For the priest's lip should keep knowledge, and they should seek the law at his mouth, for the Torah. For he is the messenger of Yahweh of hosts. But you are departed out of the way. You have caused many to stumble at the law. You have corrupted the covenant of Levi, says Yahweh of hosts. Therefore have I also made you contemptible and base before all the people, according as ye have not kept my ways, but have been partial in the law. Have we not all one Father? Has not one Elohim created us? Why do we deal treacherously every man against his brother by profaning the covenant of our fathers? And then, obviously this Torah portion recognizes that the people should abide by the decisions of those in leadership, but that is assuming that they are seeking the counsel and wisdom from a righteous counsel or leadership. Hosea 4:1-6, hear the word of Yahweh, you children of Israel, for Yahweh has a controversy with the inhabitants of the land, because there is no truth, right? There's no Torah, no mercy, nor knowledge of Elohim in the land. By swearing and lying and killing and stealing and committing adultery, they break out, and blood touches blood. Therefore shall the land mourn, every one that dwells therein shall languish, with the beasts of the field, with the fowls of heaven, yea, the fishes of the sea also shall be taken away. Yet let no man strive, nor reprove another, for your people are as they that strive with the priest. And, again, if leadership is modern day judges or priests, just maybe same call to leadership, same accountability, but maybe just different atmosphere, different landscape, different nomenclature, different names. Yet this is what you see quite often, are people that strive with the leadership. It's amazing to me also how deep pride and blindness can go when it's like you have a man that many witnesses against him, and a council of men who have been trained, seasoned, and share with a brother his dealings, his false dealings, and the matter at hand, and you just like, no, every one of you are wrong and I'm right. You don't know what you're talking about. It's like, what can you do? Like, what can you do for that man? For thy people are they as that strive with the priest. Therefore shall you fall in the day, and the prophet also shall fall with you in the night, and I will destroy thy mother. My people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. Because you have rejected knowledge, I will also reject you, that you shall be no priest to me, seeing you have forgotten the Torah of your Elohim. I will also forget your children. So, but going back to where I started, leadership, because the rest of this Torah portion we're going to hear about kings, priests, and prophets. That's really the center of this. And so going back to this king idea, it's either the Bible has a contradiction, and Yahweh is like, no, I don't want you to have a king. Why are you guys want a king? And then, but the Torah had already stated to set a king in the land. Like, to me, it doesn't make sense unless it's on the understanding that the people in Samuel's day wanted a king for the wrong reason. They weren't ultimately seeking Yahweh. They ultimately just wanted to rest their deliverance from the raising up of a king and to rest their hopes and trust in that king, because that's what all the nations did. So I have to believe that the Torah is true and that Yahweh does want a king set up. And ultimately, the whole purpose of the king is to properly manage the people, making sure that the shepherding is being done. And of course, the larger the kingdom, the more dissemination of duties and responsibilities. That's the multiplication of the tens, fifties, hundreds, and thousands. As the kingdom increases, so must the responsibility. And that's why ultimately, let's just get to it, Yahusha is King of Kings in the heavens, but ultimately I believe he wants to restore what he had set up with David, the everlasting promise to him and his seed forever. And we'll go over some of those promises. Nevertheless, the point of the king is not to become a rich man to kind of lord over the people. And I know Solomon, a righteous man, and I don't want to speak ill, but I think the record was written for us to recognize that when he did start multiply women and multiplied to himself silver and gold. Now, obviously, as the kingdom increases, silver and gold and horses do multiply. But I think what if we read between the lines, it's really to distribute to the people. And maybe that wasn't being done enough. We do know firsthand that women were multiplied, and that ultimately they did lead him away to serve, or at least have compromise, to have one foot in with Yah and other feet with other nations. But nevertheless, you see here that the heart was not supposed to be lifted up above his brethren. He should not think of himself higher, but to serve. And ultimately, you see that Messiah himself had to come and show us how to be a king, how to be a priest, and how to be a prophet, and what that actually looked like, and what the focus of life of that king, priest, and prophet was. And we definitely see it wasn't arguing with everyone about the calendar, right? Let's get straight to it. He cared about caring for the weak, and to build up strong men to do just like him. So it's not what is commonly taught in mainstream Christianity that he's the strong one and we're all just weak and helpless, and that therefore we need you. Certainly we've all been weak and helpless and need him, but the difference is he says in his own words, your faith has made you whole. Go and sin no more, lest a worse thing come upon you. And so the real turn from what's being taught in mainstream Christianity and to the true way is simply a simple fact that we've been restored to be like him. He came to create more shepherds so that this kingdom can really be like leaven in a good way, that it starts off real small and it keeps multiplying until it fills the whole loaf. And that's why he says the kingdom is within us, because it's going to start in the hearts of his people, in a group of people, coming together, uniting, and doing his work, picking back up where the apostles left off thousands of years ago. And so anyways, getting back to it, he does want kings. He delighted in David. He delighted in that time. And anyways, let's take a look at how David, from the heart of David, who Yah says is a man after his own heart. That means his heart is like Yahweh's. So in almost anything other than Uriah and Bathsheba incident, and maybe counting, we can be rest assured that we can look at the life of David and be like, that's how Yahweh wants us to operate. Psalm 47:7, for Elohim is king of all the earth, right? Singing praises with understanding. Elohim reigns over the heathen. Elohim sits upon the throne of his holiness. So it's like, even though Yahweh set him as a king, David, ultimately, David knew who really ruled. Psalm 103:19, Yahweh has prepared his throne in the heavens, and his kingdom rules over all. Just like the heavens is higher than the earth, so is his throne. David knew his throne, Yahusha's throne, was over his throne. This is not a great example, but kind of because Yahusha is not Pharaoh, but just like how Joseph was raised from the dust to being Lord over the whole land, yet he still had to, he was still only second in command to Pharaoh. That is just a shadow and a pattern, in my opinion, to how Yahusha really wanted this to go. Ultimately, David ruled over the land, but David was a righteous king who took his orders from the king himself. And we know sometimes that was directly, and sometimes it was through the priests and through prophets. Nevertheless, they had constant communication. Well, I can't say constant. I mean, David wasn't talking to him like 24/7. I'm just saying, like, 1 Chronicles 28:5, and all my sons, for Yahweh has given me many sons. He has chosen Solomon, my son, to sit upon the throne of the kingdom of Yahweh over Israel. And so it was like a seat. It was Yahweh's throne that they were basically, well, I'm going to use the term viceroy. 1 Chronicles 29:23, then Solomon sat on the throne of Yahweh as king instead of David his father, and all Israel obeyed him. Psalm 78:70-72, he chose David, also his servant, and took him from the sheepfolds, from following the ewes great with young. He brought him to feed Jacob his people and Israel his inheritance. So he fed them according to the integrity of his heart and guided them by the skillfulness of his hands. And consider, this is Messiah's heart, Revelation 2:26-27. And he that overcomes and keeps my works unto the end, to him will I give power over the nations, and he shall rule them with a rod of iron. As the vessels of a potter shall they be broken to shivers, even as I received my Father. Revelation 3:20, behold, I stand at the door and knock. If any man hear my voice and open the door, I will come to him and will sup with him, and he with me. To him that overcomes will I grant to sit with me in my throne, even as I also overcame and am set down with my Father in his throne. And isn't that what happened for a short time during the time of David and Solomon? Until, of course, Solomon went astray, and the kingdom was rent in two, and then ultimately it was taken away, and they were subject to the nations. And we've been in the nations, nevertheless. And so this is what I'm seeing here, right? Solomon sat on the throne of Yahweh. And so this is ultimately what Yahusha came to restore. He came to restore the house of David and the rulership of his people over the nations. That's been his heart from day one, right? Obey my voice and you'll be a kingdom of priests in Exodus 19. The promise in Deuteronomy 28, right? If we hearken diligently, right, he's going to set us on high above all the nations of the earth. This is not a vain thing. This is what he wants for his people. That was ultimately what he even wanted for Adam in the very beginning, to rule over everything. And so that's what I see in the last days as well. Ultimately, Yahusha, he is Yahweh. And when people are like, well, what are you talking about? He's Yahweh. He has a father. Yes, Yahusha has a father who is greater than him. But nevertheless, Yahusha is the angel of Yahweh, Yod-He Vav-He. He is part of the Godhead, Elohim. He and his Father rule in the heavens. And that's kind of essentially Yahusha then, kind of brought that down in David's time. That's why David was sitting on his throne, and that's what Yahusha came to restore. He's like, hey, if you overcome, I'll set you back on the throne. I'll restore what was promised to David forever. Why do the heathen rage and the people imagine a vain thing? The kings of the earth set themselves, and the rulers take counsel together against Yahweh and against his anointed, saying, let us break their bands asunder and cast their cords away from us, right? Get the Torah away from us is basically what that says. He that sits in the heavens shall laugh. Is that not Yahusha? Yahweh shall have them in derision. Then he shall speak unto them in his wrath and vex them in his sore displeasure. Yet have I set my king upon my holy hill of Zion. This is what he is preparing for his overcomers. I will declare the decree. Yahweh said unto me, you are my son. This day have I begotten you. And then this is the same promise. And so I'm taking this very seriously. I believe he is preparing us to be kings, priests, and prophets. Now, we're going to read here in a bit that's been brought together. That's been brought together through the Melchizedek priesthood, which combines the prophet, priest, and kingship. So, of course, we know Messiah, John 13, washing the feet of his disciples. This is the King of Kings, serving his fellow brothers and sisters. Right? Then, of course, he tells us to do likewise. Verily I say unto you, the servant is not greater than his master, neither he that is sent greater than he that sent him. If you know these things, happy are you if you do them. So if your life is to serve others, it will be well. In Ephesians 4, because what's commonly misquoted from Messiah, to call no man rabbi or teacher, not that the teacher role doesn't exist, because here in Ephesians 4, he gave some apostles, prophets, some evangelists, some pastors, teachers, for the perfecting of the saints. So if any of you believe you have these roles, don't be high-minded about it, that it's only been given to you for the perfecting of the saints, for the work of the ministry, for the edifying of the body in Christ, in Mashiach, till we all come in the unity of the faith. It's coming, I believe. I believe in the unity of the faith. It's coming. We're going to keep praying about it. And the knowledge of the Son of Elohim unto a perfect man, unto the measure of the stature of the fullness of Messiah, that we henceforth be no more children, tossed to and fro, and carrying about every wind of doctrine, by the sleight of men, and the cunning craftiness whereby they lie in wait to deceive, but speaking the truth in love, that we may grow up into him all things, which is the head, even Mashiach. And so these posts do exist. These positions of shepherd or elder or leader is needed in the body dearly, because the devil is flaying the flock. Hebrews 13:17-18, obey them that have rule over you, and submit yourselves, for they watch for your souls, as they that must give account, that they may do it with joy and not with grief, for that is unprofitable for you. Pray for us, for we trust we have a good conscience in all things, willing to live honestly. So, all right. Yeah. All right, we're going to talk more about kings and priests in the next chapter. And so I guess the point is that, I believe in the last days, long story short, Yahweh is going to set his people as rulers. And I think there's going to be a huge resistance to it. You're starting to see it now, like this no kings movement. That's not what the Torah states. And in the end times, he's going to set up his monarchy again. I believe he's going to set up the throne of David once again to rule over the nations, but to rule for the 1,000 years. Of course, ultimately, Yahusha being the ruler of all. But if we take his words, he's going to set his people. He's the King of Kings, and he sets his kings to make sure his will is being done all throughout the earth. That's going to take a lot of people. And it's not just about him. We're learning it's not just about him. He wants to set people as rulers, but people that serve the people and aren't looking to be served. And anyways, it says, okay. It says, this is Daniel 7. I saw in the night visions, and behold, one like the Son of Man came with the clouds of heaven, and he came to the Ancient of Days, and they brought him near before him. And there was given him dominion, glory, and a kingdom, that all peoples, nations, and language should serve him. And his dominion is an everlasting dominion, which shall not pass away. And his kingdom, that which shall not be destroyed, which is truly what Yahusha came and picked back up and restored. And we see that being carried out after he ascended in the heavens through the Acts 2, where they're as one. They're as one people, right? It wasn't about Peter. It wasn't about just Paul. It was the body together was as one. Just like when Nehemiah and them came back from Babylon, it says they were to gather together as one man. And that's what I believe he's prophesying here. And then it says here, but verse 18, but the saints of the Most High shall take the kingdom. So this now gives us more indication that it is the saints who will be given the kingdom and possess the kingdom forever and ever. He's literally going to give it to his people. If they have the heart of David, right? And they have the understanding of David. Matter of fact, yeah, here we go. This is Book of Natsarim 13. A man in the crowd said to Yahusha, we have heard of your teachings and that you herald the rule or the kingdom of Elohim, like the coming of it. Like, tell us about it. Yahusha said, there is the kingdom of the Ruach, the spirit, and the kingdom of the flesh. Yahweh rules the first himself, but the second he rules through his viceroy, man. But man tries to set himself up as an independent ruler, making his own laws and setting aside those of his sovereign. When the viceroy ceases to rebel and governs in accord with the decrees of the sovereign, that will be the rule of Elohim. This is exactly what I was trying to say, and I appreciate that It was just spoken plainly here. And that's what we see with David. Like all of his decisions, like, oh, Yahweh, should we go up and fight? Go and fight. Should we go up and fight? Don't go up and fight. It's like, and so like he literally, the kingdom was in Yahweh's hands, not fully in David's. David's like rested and trusted in Yahweh. And when he was wrong and rebuked, David corrected his course and repented and acknowledged truly who is sovereign over all. And of course, ultimately gave, when this is what I really glean from David as often as I can, it's like any blessing or good quality you have, and men praise you for it, you give Yah credit. You give Yah, just like Yahusha did to his father. And, David's like, the king, the giant slayer, it was Yahweh. Yahweh was the one. Yahweh delivered David out of the paw of the lion and the bear and of the uncircumcised Philistine, as it records. So, and Yahweh loves that. He loves that David acknowledged ultimately where power comes from, where wisdom comes from, where the ability to be a prophet or a king or a priest, that ultimately all comes from Yahweh. So let's go to chapter 18. We're going to move on and talk more about priests. But a lot of these concepts are going to be combined as we talk about the Melchizedek priesthood, which doesn't throw away Levi. It just reunites the Aaronic order, the kingship order, and the firstborn order. It literally unites what Judah was given, what Levi was given, and what Joseph was given all into one. So let's go to chapter 18.
Devarim, Deuteronomy, chapter 18.
The priests, the Leviim, and all the tribe of Levi shall have no part nor inheritance with Yashrael. They shall eat the offerings of Yahweh made by fire, and his inheritance. Therefore shall they have no inheritance among their brethren. Yahweh is their inheritance, as he has said unto them. And this shall be the priest's due from the people, from them that offer a sacrifice, whether it be ox or sheep. And they shall give unto the priest the shoulder, and the 2 cheeks, and the maw. The first fruit also of your grain, of your wine, and of your oil, and the first of the fleece of your sheep shall you give him. For Yahweh Elohika has chosen him out of all your tribes to stand to minister in the name of Yahweh, him and his sons forever. And if a Levii come from any of your gates out of all Yashrael, where he sojourned, and come with all the desire of his mind unto the place which Yahweh shall choose, then he shall minister in the name of Yahweh Eloheinu, as all his brethren the Leviim do, which stand there before Yahweh. They shall have like portions to eat, beside that which comes to the sale of his patrimony. When you are come into the land which Yahweh Elohika gives you, you shall not learn to do after the abominations of those nations. There shall not be found among you anyone that makes his son or his daughter to pass through the fire, or that uses divination, or one that practices sorcery, or an enchanter, or a witch, or a charmer, or a consulter with familiar spirits, or a wizard, or a necromancer. For all that do these things are an abomination unto Yahweh. And because of these abominations, Yahweh Elohika drives them out from before you. You shall be perfect with Yahweh Elohika. For these nations which you shall possess hearkened unto sorcerers and unto diviners. But as for you, Yahweh Elohika has not suffered you to do so. Yahweh Elohika will raise up unto you a prophet from the midst of you, of your brethren, like unto me. Unto him ye shall hearken. According to all that you desired of Yahweh Elohika in Horeb, in the day of the assembly, saying, Let me not hear again the voice of Yahweh Elohai, neither let me see this great fire any more, that I die not. And Yahweh said unto me, They have well spoken that which they have spoken. I will raise them up a prophet from among their brethren, like unto you, and will put my words in his mouth, and he shall speak unto them all that I shall command him. And it shall come to pass, that whosoever will not hearken unto my words, which he shall speak in my name, I will require it of him. But the prophet, which shall presume to speak a word in my name, which I have not commanded him to speak, or that shall speak in the name of other Elohim, even that prophet shall die. And if you say in your heart, How shall we know the word which Yahweh has not spoken? When a prophet speaks in the name of Yahweh, if the thing follow not, nor come to pass, that is the thing which Yahweh has not spoken. but the prophet has spoken it presumptuously. You shall not be afraid of him.
Ooh, some heavy stuff, and it's so interesting. Yahweh's timing is amazing. I'm currently working on a new series of videos with the escalation going on over there. Honestly, how can I not talk about it? Obviously, this has been a huge focus of this ministry. Not out of any joy do I ever make these videos, but from the understanding I have, that Deuteronomy 29 has not been fulfilled yet in that Middle East land. And I do believe the people there are the children of Pharisees, Sadducees, the ones that did not hearken to Messiah 2,000 years ago and have just continued in their man-made traditions and all the things that Yahusha hates. Just to get straight to it, I believe he called them the synagogue of Satan, and I believe I'm a survivor of that synagogue growing up in Judaism. Either this statement is true or not. I think a lot of people do recognize that Deuteronomy 18 here can be applied to Jeremiah, Isaiah, any of the prophets, and I think it does. But there's probably the greatest prophet ever that, and certainly that's part of the mystery of the gospel, that he didn't necessarily say, hey, myself, but ultimately he is that prophet like Moses. So anyways, my long-winded point is Yahweh's timing is interesting. Is I've had my notes ready for, it's probably going to at least be I don't know how many video series, but quite a few. I'm going to go over smaller segments, but have it like in a playlist setting where it's like 15, 20-minute portions to each of the points I'd like to make. A little more easy to digest, I've recognized. But the first part I've had done for a while, but I've drug my feet, and I'm starting to learn to know when I have the go-ahead to move forward and when I'm just waiting on him. And there's something just really good about a season waiting on him and not rushing things. It's hard to explain that, because I also want to give caution and not just sit around and wait forever. I've seen people also just sit around and wait forever and never move forward. So there's really, that's really comes from obeying the Spirit and just really discerning the Spirit. Anyways, I've been on pause almost, it seems like, in my mind, and I'm just like praying, like I feel this message in my heart. There's one thing I was missing, and it's Deuteronomy 18, and I'm so thankful. I want to add that to the study, at least the first part, because people are going to ask questions why, especially as pastors are continuing to preach that Zechariah 12, that Jerusalem will be a burdensome stone, and all who lift their hand against it will be destroyed. So I think most of mainstream Christianity is expecting Israel to be protected and all of its enemies to be subdued, when I believe the exact opposite is going to happen. I believe that this is the time that Ezekiel 21 talks about, that the third time that the place is destroyed, the sword is doubled, where all flesh from north to south is destroyed. Deuteronomy 29 prophesies that at some point, the ultimate fruit of that nation that is in a covenant with him and disobeys, it's going to be utterly destroyed, like Sodom and Gomorrah. Pitch, ashes, nobody will ever be able to sow or reap over there. Prophecies that, of course, that it'll be smoking forever and ever. No one will ever inhabit it. Well, I think that's what's about to happen over there. And this is one of the main reasons. And I didn't have it in my first video. And I'm thankful that I did pause and not go forward to that first video, because this is one of the main points. This should be one of the main points. And it says any whoever will not hearken to my words, which he shall speak in my name, I will require of him. And he claimed to come in his Father's name, and they didn't hear him. And Messiah himself says, if you believe not that I am he, you shall die in your sins. And so I recently talking to some brothers, and I want to be very respectful, because I know that the body has been taught the exact opposite, to trust them over there, to even learn from them, to pray for them. And well, don't stop praying for them. I think Samuel even prayed for Saul up until the end, and I think Yahweh had to be like, can you stop? Don't pray for him anymore. We should be like Abraham, right, in praying. So don't ever stop praying. But to some degree, people still look up to them and feel like we should listen to them, hearken to them. When the scriptures I read, Romans 9 says they've been broken off. And branches that abide not in him are to be gathered, right, and to be burned. And I think that's basically why they've been gathered there. If you read carefully Ezekiel 22 through 24, and you look at the chronology, 22 specifically in Ezekiel, he's like, I will spread you across all the corners of the earth and disperse you. That's definitely 70 AD. But then he talks about another gathering where he's like, I'm going to literally melt you and destroy you. Not a cleansing. And he's careful to let you know that it's not a cleansing. This is not a purifying of metal cleansing. This is a destruction. And then in 24, he gives the, literally, I'm going to put all of you in this kettle, and all the scum is going to be gone. And I'm not sitting here accusing those people. I think a lot of you know that almost my entire father's side of my family still lives over there. I was just there last year visiting, and my 96-year-old grandmother still lives there. She's going to be 97 this year. My grandmother is literally one of the poster, I'd show you, but it's on my phone, and my phone is used for the camera. She was one of the poster women for the invasion in 1947. She had just been gone into the army. I have a lot of roots and ties to that land. So I'm not anti-Semitic. My father, I'm a first-generation American. My father was born in Jerusalem, and his father, and his father, and his father, well before that place was regathered by the Rothschilds. My fathers were living in Jerusalem, adhering to the traditions of their fathers. So obviously Abba is still pulling people out of the synagogue of Satan, and I'm thankful. I'm very thankful, but point is that they didn't listen to him, and it says, I will require of him. In the Septuagint, it says, I will take vengeance on them. And who is this prophet like Moshe? I mean, I have a little article here on parable. It's in the study notes if you want to look at it, which kind of it goes over, highlights what we just read in Deuteronomy 18. But if you really, I'll just kind of quickly get to it. If you look at the list here, literally Moses, like example, he survived the killing of many babies, right? Yahusha survived the killing of many babies. He was opposed by his own family, You go through each one, and you're like, oh my God, Yahusha is that prophet like Moses. Could Jeremiah have checked off most of these? Probably. All of these? I don't think so. Even the little things like, riding on a donkey and having, you have the 40 days and 40 nights, all that stuff, going up to Yahweh on the third day. I mean, it's just interesting stuff. And so if you want to learn more about it, I've got that here. But, I'm convinced that Yahusha is the fulfillment of Deuteronomy 18 that they denied, and ultimately why that land is going to pay. What day and hour, I don't know. I know it's coming. I believe it's coming. And I guess my words and my discernment will be tested, whether I've discerned the prophecies true or not. And that'll remain to seen. But going back to kings and priests, because I think a lot of us know that we're a royal priesthood, but if we are operating in the Melchizedek priesthood, there is an element of priesthood and kingship, and that this has not been done away with. Isaiah 66:21, and I will take also of them for priests and for Levites, says Yahweh. This is when he comes and returns and brings lots of destruction. Excuse me. For as the new heavens and new earth, which I will make, shall remain before me, says Yahweh, so shall your seed and your name remain. So the Levites don't stop. He just brings it together, and we'll get there in a second. Now, here's the promise of the kingship and the priesthood forever. So a lot of us are recognizing, hey, we're coming back to the Shabbat because it says forever, We're coming back to the food laws because it's forever. Okay, kingship and priesthood promised to the line of Aaron and to the seed of David forever. Behold, the days come, says Yahweh, that I'll perform that good thing which I have promised unto the house of Israel and the house of Judah. In those days and at that time will I cause the branch of righteousness to grow up unto David, and he shall execute judgment and righteousness in the land. In those days Judah shall be saved, and Jerusalem shall dwell safely. And this is the name wherewith she shall be called, Yahweh our righteousness. Now listen to this. This is a vain promise, because we know Jeremiah is a true prophet. So this is a true promise or not. For thus says Yahweh, David shall never want a man to sit upon the throne of the house of Israel. And we know Yahusha has that in the heavens. But the question now remains is he going to restore that on the earth one day? And I believe yes, and I believe that's part of the kingdom. I believe the seed of David rules that kingdom forever, at least for the 1,000 years. Neither shall the priests and the Levites want a man before me to offer burnt offerings and to kindle meat offerings and to do sacrifice continue. So be careful of people who are saying that he's cast away the Levites or the seed of Aaron. He has not, because this is a promise. Let's read it. And the word of Yahweh came unto Jeremiah, saying, Thus says Yahweh, if you can break my covenant of the day and my covenant of the night, right? So just look outside. It's same thing we read when we read Matthew 5, right? As long as heaven and earth, my words, and so we're like, okay, it's still there. So as long as there's day and night, that there should, so if you can break my covenant of the day, my covenant of the night, and there should not be day and night in their season, then may also my covenant be broken with David my servant. So it's not been broken. That he should not have a son to reign upon his throne with the Levites, the priests, my ministers. As the host of heaven cannot be numbered, neither the sand of the sea measured, so will I multiply the seed of David my servant, and the Levites that minister unto me. Moreover, the word of Yahweh came to Jeremiah, saying, consider you not what this people have spoken, saying, the two families which Yahweh has chosen, he has even cast them off. So this is getting exactly to what people are saying here when they speak against the house of Aaron, or even just Levites in general, and the house of David, the kingship, by saying, that's all gone, that's done away with. It's only just about Jesus, or it's only, even in our circles, it's only just about Yahusha. He's the only king and priest, and that this promise that's been given, people that say that, it's done away with, or whatever, thus they have despised my people, that they should no more be a nation before them. Thus says Yahweh, if my covenant be not with day and night, and if I have not appointed the ordinances of heaven and earth, then will I cast away the seed of Jacob and David my servant, so that I will not take any of his seed to be rulers over the seed of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. For I will cause their captivity return and have mercy on them. And I would humbly submit to you that I believe that the evaluation process is currently going on right now, that he is observing everyone's life. That's that way we know. But I also, to raise that bar, I believe he is selecting who he's selecting, because he says that he selects the kings, he selects the priests. And so I believe he's doing the evaluations right now. And then we had this, of course, some would say an issue or a problem, looking at these promises of the Levitical priesthood forever and the Davidic priesthood forever. But then, what do we do with the Melchizedek? Certainly Yahweh does nothing but by saying it first through his prophets. And it was alluded to here in Psalm 110, Yahweh said unto my master, sit you right at my right hand until I make your enemies your footstool. Yahweh shall send the rod of your strength out of Zion, rule you in the midst of your enemies. So there's going to be a takeover. There is going to be a takeover by his kingdom, and that's going to go into the next chapter 20, about when he comes down and he leads his people again, the nations are going to have to submit. But it says here, rule you in the midst of your enemies. There's going to be enemies when this throne is reestablished. Your people shall be willing in the day of your power, and the beauties of holiness from the womb of the morning. You have the dew of your youth. This is that promise to Israel, that restoration. This is what Peter and them were looking for in that day. Yahweh has sworn and will not repent. You are a priest forever after the order of Melchizedek. So this is a ruler who is now also a priest. Yahweh at your right hand shall strike through kings in the day of his wrath. He shall judge among the heathen. He shall fill the places with the dead bodies. He shall wound the heads over many countries. He shall drink of the brook in the way. This is that Psalm 1 river, and this is the trees drinking by that river. So because they are drinking from that Psalm 1 river, therefore shall he lift up the head. And this is exactly what that promise is in Deuteronomy 1, that if you keep my commandments, I will set you on high. This is lifting up the head. This is going from making you the tail to the head. And this is I am fully convinced, brothers and sisters, we will see this overturning in our day. I believe he's going to lop the bow of the haughty, and he's going to raise those who are in the dust, and he's going to set them on high. But those who get it, those who understand that the rulers are supposed to be servants. Now, how is this all going to happen? Zechariah 6:12, and speak unto him, saying, thus says Yahweh of hosts, saying, behold, the man whose name is the branch, right? That's the second time we're seeing it. And I consider that Yahusha also told us that his father is the husbandman, he is the vine, we are the... So I believe this is his end times people growing up. It's ultimately points to Yahusha, but this is the whole point. He wants us to be like him. He wants us to be kings, priests, and firstborns just like him. The branch, and he shall grow up out of his place, and he shall build the temple of Yahweh. We know we're looking at a physical third one. This is a spiritual house built of living stones, built of a spiritual house, offering up spiritual sacrifices, what 1 Peter 2:5 says. He shall even build the temple of Yahweh, and he shall bear the glory, and shall sit and rule upon his throne, and he shall be a priest on his throne. This is no doubt Melchizedek. and the counsel of peace shall be between them both. So this is not getting rid of the covenant with Aaron or Levi. This is bringing it together, back together, which is what I believe it was at the beginning, from Adam down to Jacob, and then it being split amongst Judah, Levi, and Joseph, to be brought back together by Yahusha. And ultimately, we're supposed to be kings, priests, prophets, firstborns underneath him, if we're chosen by him, if we're selected by him, if we've been proven by him, and if we walk like he walked, truth and spirit. And they, verse 15, they that are far off shall come and build the temple of Yahweh, and you shall know that Yahweh of hosts has sent me unto you. And this shall come to pass if you will diligently obey the voice of Yahweh Elohim. This is a confirmation of what Deuteronomy 28 says, and says in many places. Our job is to keep the commandments of Yahweh Elohim, and he will do the work. This is going back to setting up leaders in your assemblies, and if you don't like it, it makes you feel weird. You want to be humble about it. I get it. Do what he's called us to do, and don't pervert the justice of Yahweh and the authority that he wants his people to have. But those who are not blind, those who are not deaf, but those who have been circumcised and have the testament of Yahusha and understand the truth and the spirit principle. Psalm 89, verse 3, I have made a covenant with my chosen. I have sworn unto David my servant, your seed will I establish forever, and build up your throne to all generations. And it includes ours, and I believe he's going to restore that before our very eyes, brothers and sisters. Pause and Salah on that. Down to verse 19, then you spake in your vision to your Holy One and said, I have laid help upon one that is mighty. I have exalted one chosen out of the people. I have found David my servant. With my holy oil have I anointed him, with whom my hand shall be established. Mine arm shall also strengthen him. The enemy shall not exact upon him, nor the son of wickedness afflict him. I will beat down his foes before his face and plague them that hate him. But my faithfulness and my mercy shall be with him, and in my name shall his horn be exalted. So this is growing in the Torah. When his people meditate on the Torah day and night, just like what we saw in Psalm 110, he was drinking of the brook in the way, the derech, the Torah, and in my name shall his horn be exalted. This is the strength, this is the power. And I will set his hand also in the sea, and his right hand in the rivers. He shall cry unto me, you are my Father, my Elohim, the rock of my salvation. I will also make him my firstborn. So this Davidic ruler that we know is going to be combined with the priesthood, now this promise to David, right? I will also make him my firstborn, higher than the kings of the earth. My mercy will I keep with him forevermore, and my covenant shall stand fast with him. His seed also will I make to endure forever, and his throne as the days of heaven. Now, we know this points to Yahusha, but we know this also points to his earthly children as well. Because look, if his children forsake my law and walk not in my judgments, if they break my statutes and keep not my commandments, then will I visit their transgression with the rod and their iniquity with the stripes. Nevertheless, my loving kindness will I not utterly take from him, nor suffer my faithfulness to fail. So this is why he can earnestly promise, right, in Leviticus 26. Where is it? It says, here we go, 26:44, and yet for all that, when they be in the land of their enemies, I will not cast them away, neither will I hate them to destroy them utterly, and to break my covenant with them, for I am Yahweh, their Elohim, right? So he's like just waiting for us. He's just waiting for his people in the wilderness to start springing up, his little branches to start growing. This is the promise in Isaiah 35. That in the wilderness, the desert, it shall blossom abundantly and rejoice even with joy and singing. The glory of Lebanon shall be given. This is the highest of the peaks of the peaks. This is the kingdom given to them. Oh, man. So going back to Psalm 89, sorry, jumping everywhere. I'm just excited really about this topic. I just never saw this before. And so if I'm talking a lot about it, it's because I never saw it until last year. My covenant will I not break, nor alter the thing that's gone out of my lips. Once have I sworn by my holiness that I will not lie unto David, his seed shall endure forever, and his throne as the sun before me. It shall be established forever as the moon and as a faithful witness in heaven. And so I believe this restoration to this is coming, brothers and sisters, and that he has always wanted kings and priests and the prophets to stand before him, to do his will, to pass his word, to keep his people in line. Joel 2:23, be glad then, ye children of Zion, and rejoice in Yahweh Elohim, for he has given you the former rain moderately, and he will cause to come down for you the rain, the former rain and the latter rain in the first month. Maybe we're just a short time away. The first month, at least on our calendar, is less than 60 days away, and may it be so. Maybe this be the time of the latter rains, hallelujah. So, in any case, going back to the couple things here, I don't want to skip. So I believe that this forever means forever. It's the sons of Aaron are called to stand before him forever, and I believe that's still to be true. And so lately there's been people speaking a lot of ill will towards the sons of Aaron or Levites as if they've been cast off, and I think we just saw in Jeremiah that he even acknowledges that people will proclaim that, but it ain't true. Verse 9, right? Not learning to do after the nations. So we shouldn't be influenced in our worship. To me, this speaks volumes to Christmas, Easter, those kind of things that have been practices mixed with the nations into worshiping Yahweh. Like, just don't do it. Just stay away from it. Now, this is another thing this has been of interest to me lately. Obviously, talking about getting away from divination, which, I think in modern terms, astrology, horoscopes, and then sorcery, some very obvious stuff, Harry Potter generations. But there's even some even sneakier stuff out there. And I've been, like wondering, like, do I want to be? I don't want to be near any of this, right? No enchanter. Obviously Disney is huge on enchantment and magic and witches and charmers, familiar spirits, wizard, necromancers, and so it's like, for me, this is why when I was beginning to come to him, I looked at this, and then I looked at, like, I was a big video gamer. And I spent a lot of time playing games like World of Warcraft, League of Legends, that have this stuff. It has sorcery in it. It has witches in it. It has necromancers in it. It has spirits in it. And I'm like, and then I was like, I hear, like, and maybe it's out of context, but you can't drink of the cup of Yahweh and the cup of devils. How can two walk together unless they agree? And so I'm like, how am I going to walk with Yahweh and, like, let this, influence me? And so my wife and I, we're at a point where we just don't want any of this in our house. And that's why we just typically don't watch any TV. And this is not a boast. I'm just sharing, like, and there's no boast in it. I'm just sharing, like, that's just where we've come. Like, we don't want that influence. We will, from time to time, we'll show them, like, like, we'll put music on like YouTube and stuff, and let them see, like, Lynn and Ruth videos, and we'll play, like, some biblically based stuff once in a while. But, like, just for anyone out there that's still, like, giving your children, like, free range with the remote control and, like, Netflix and video games and phones, and just letting them just open up to the world, I feel like this is dangerous. I feel like it's I'm not really sure. People will be out, I'm sure, out there are much wiser than me on how spirits work and how they find doors and entryways into your home. I don't know all that stuff. Some people have a lot more wisdom than me, but man, I got to say, like, just having a screen with images of witches and sorcery and all that, like, I think that's the kind of stuff he's literally saying, not to have that. And he literally is like, for all these things are an abomination in Yahweh, and because of these abominations, Yahweh drives them out from before you. So he doesn't want that. And there's a call to perfection, which Yahusha echoes that in the New Testament. So that's not done away with. Whether we arrive there, given enough time, that's not the point. The point is we should be striving for perfection. So just being lackadaisical and, like, allowing this stuff to happen in our homes, I don't think it's okay. It's just my personal opinion. I'm not here to reach into your home and tell you what to do. But if he hates these things, I don't think they should be going on in our homes. I don't think we should be watching movies or series that has any of this stuff in it. Just my opinion. That's how I discern the Torah. And so people that do delight in these things and things that have these things, Yahweh doesn't. And so I don't know where you're at in your walk. I want to do stuff that he loves and that pleases him and makes him happy. I don't want to have anything permeating my life that he doesn't like. So let's go to 19, Deuteronomy 19.
Devarim, Deuteronomy chapter 19.
When Yahweh Elohika has cut off the nations whose land Yahweh Elohika gives you, and you succeed them, and dwell in their cities and in their houses, you shall separate 3 cities for you in the midst of your land, which Yahweh Elohika gives you to possess it. You shall prepare a way and divide the coasts of your land, which Yahweh Elohika gives you to inherit, into 3 parts, that every slayer may flee thither. And this is the case of the slayer, which shall flee thither, that he may live. Whoso kills his neighbor ignorantly, whom he hated not in time past, as when a man goes into the woods with his neighbor to hew wood, and his hand fetches a stroke with the axe to cut down the tree, and the head slips from the helve, and lights upon his neighbor that he die, he shall flee unto one of those cities and live. Lest the avenger of the blood pursue the slayer while his heart is hot, and overtake him, because the way is long, and slay him, whereas he was not worthy of death, inasmuch as he hated him not in time past. Wherefore I command you, saying, you shall separate 3 cities for you. And if Yahweh Elohika enlarge your coast, as he has sworn unto your fathers, and give you all the land which he promised to give unto your fathers, if you shall guard all these commandments to do them, which I command you this day, to love Yahweh Elohika, and to walk ever in his ways, then you shall add 3 cities more for you, beside these 3, that innocent blood be not shed in your land, which Yahweh Elohika gives you for an inheritance, and so blood be upon you. But if any man hate his neighbor, and lie in wait for him, and rise up against him, and smite him mortally that he die, and flees into one of these cities, then the elders of his city shall send and fetch him thence there, and deliver him into the hand of the avenger of blood, that he may die. Your eye shall not pity him, but you shall put away the guilt of innocent blood from Yashrael, that it may go well with you. You shall not remove your neighbor's landmark, which they of old time have set in your inheritance, which you shall inherit in the land that Yahweh Elohika gives you to possess it. 1 witness shall not rise up against a man for any iniquity, or for any sin, in any sin that he sins. At the mouth of 2 witnesses, or at the mouth of 3 witnesses, shall the matter be established. If a false witness rise up against any man to testify against him that which is wrong, then both the men, between whom the controversy is, shall stand before Yahweh, before the priests and the judges, which shall be in those days. And the judges shall make diligent inquisition, and, behold, if the witness be a false witness, and has testified falsely against his brother, then shall you do unto him as he had thought to have done unto his brother. So shall you put the evil away from among you. And those which remain shall hear and fear, and shall henceforth commit no more any such evil among you. And your eye shall not pity, but life shall go for life, eye for eye, tooth for tooth, hand for hand, foot for foot.
Whew. This is this is an interesting precept here, and this is especially relevant. We seem to be in a season of just brothers being falsely accused and slandered. And I just, I do fear for people that open their mouth so widely against brothers, that this ultimately is what Yahweh will make sure is done to these people that do this. Verse 18 is so important out there, brothers and sisters, especially in the fast-paced lives we live. I think with text messaging, Facebook, social media, I think it puts us in the seat of doing so, and the ability, to, even more so, the availability to be able to quickly hear both sides. But it's like, man, if we're living in a time where we can instantly hear the other person's side almost instantly, versus back in the day where it's like, goodness, you'd probably have to write a letter or send a messenger and wait weeks. And now we can instantly hear both sides. But yet, I'm sure it's probably even less common today than it was back then. I don't know. I mean, what do I know? I didn't live back then. Just speculating. But nevertheless, this is so important about diligent inquisition. And there's that proverb where the first person that tells their story, hey, it seems to be right. Then his neighbor comes. Then it's like, oh, okay, now I see what's really going on here. And I've seen that in many times in hearing both sides. A lot of times the first person to state their case, they seem right. Especially how they frame it. And then the other person shares. And really where you get to the truth, in my opinion, is be able to hear both sides. And the thing with Solomon and the baby, that can be applied in so many different ways. That's an extreme case with a very easy to discern and apparent result by just asking the right questions. But the point is that's diligent inquisition. And even in hard matters like that, over it's like just two people's opinion against each other, if you ask the right questions, you'll see. And that's what I've seen. And once again, this is ultimately where you can make Yahweh king, but yet be his arm, his hands and feet, as a lot of us state it. And all we have to do is hear both sides, be impartial. It's like the information comes out. It's almost like people can't help themselves. Some of you have that. I don't watch TV anymore, but back in the day, just referencing previous life stuff, watch like First 48 and different, investigative things, and then like you watch the witnesses, and you're like, oh man, you're totally lying. And you can tell, right? Just by dodging answers, whatever it is. I don't need to get into it. But anyone that hasn't been like sitting in a role of hearing both sides out, at least, on instances like that, some of us have seen where if you just let people talk and you ask the right questions, they'll tell you everything. As a matter of fact, everyone just wants to be heard. That's just the nature of man. Everyone's right in their own eyes, and so most people just want to be heard. Obviously, we have the word of Yah to discern if someone is walking according to Yah or not. And that's what our Torah portion was last week, right? Deuteronomy 13, the test of the false prophet. So, yeah, and from my opinion, I've seen false prophets, false kings and priests. People that are like, I'm a king and priest, and just being really rude and rough about it, overly bold and overly requiring of subjection and all sorts of misuse of authority. And so even again, as we read 2 chapters ago, even the king himself should not be lifted up above his brethren. Obviously, same thing with the priests, same thing with the prophets. You're literally there to do Yahweh's will. You're literally to minister his word, his will, his justice, his financial trade, whatever it is. It's supposed to be done righteously. For those of you who like to do extra homework reading, someone got really offended by that one time. I'm definitely not your teacher assigning you homework. I'm just talking in just in a friendly manner. For extra reading, I have the notes in here. Book of Susanna. It's one chapter. It's like 60 something verses, I think, or 70. So it's a couple minute read, but it's a really interesting story about false witnesses, diligent inquisition. Basically, you have Susanna, who was preyed upon by 2 elders of Israel, and they both wanted to get together with her, and she was married, and they had this plan. It didn't work, and they got caught, and so they tried to falsely accuse her to have her executed so they wouldn't be found guilty of trying to lust after her. So they went to court, and it was actually looking bad for her because they were influential, and she was about to be condemned. And she prayed to Yahweh, please look upon your handmaid. And then a young Daniel, yes, Daniel, the same Daniel in Babylon, stands up and is like, "Are you guys serious? Like, are we about to condemn are we about to condemn the innocent here?" And then he did a diligent inquisition, and part of that was just separating the witnesses and just asking the same question for both. And everyone saw them flounder, and everyone was like, "Oh man, Daniel, the wisdom of Yahweh was on Daniel," and he simply just asked questions, and he allowed Yahweh's process to work. So I'm a witness as well. I don't have any grand stories like Daniel and Susanna, but I will say that I have seen Yahweh's hand at work by just keeping the process. Like even if doing the Sabbath and feast days and tzitzit and clean eating and impartiality and correct financial dealings and all that doesn't maybe make sense all the time and you may be persecuted for it, and I'm going to tell you it's going to be well with you. And I believe he's sifting and selecting people. Many are called, few are chosen, and I think there's going to be a lot of people outside the gates, and I hope to not be one of them. And so this is why I want to have diligent inquisition into the Torah and reflect it on my life, and where I lack, I want to make changes. And that's where David's bold to say, search my heart and try my reins and see if there's any iniquity in me. And I don't know about you, if I want to know about it, so that I can do better. And that gets to a part of the Torah that if you love your neighbor, you will rebuke him in love, so they can hear you, and that you don't. Anyways, all right, let's go to chapter 20. 20. Actually, yeah, I'm going to have it finished to 21 verse 9. So we're going to read to 21 verse 9 since that's only 9 verses. So we'll finish the reading and then I'll finish the study here. I don't have a ton for 20 and 21. And so, we'll be finishing up here. Just a little prayer, a couple announcements. Passover's coming up soon. Hallelujah.
Devarim, Deuteronomy, chapter 20.
When you go out to battle against your enemies and see horses and chariots and a people more than you, be not afraid of them. For Yahweh Elohika is with you, which brought you up out of the land of Mitzrayim. And it shall be, when ye are come nigh unto the battle, that the priest shall approach and speak unto the people, and shall say unto them, Hear, O Yashrael, ye approach this day unto battle against your enemies. Let not your hearts faint. Fear not, and do not tremble, neither be ye terrified because of them. For Yahweh Elohim is he that goes with you, to fight for you against your enemies, to save you. And the officers shall speak unto the people, saying, What man is there that has built a new house, and has not dedicated it? Let him go and return to his house, lest he die in the battle, and another man dedicate it. And what man is he that has planted a vineyard, and has not eaten of it yet? Let him also go and return unto his house, lest he die in the battle, and another man eat of it. And what man is there that has betrothed a woman, and has not taken her? Let him go and return unto his house, lest he die in the battle, and another man take her. And the officers shall speak further unto the people. And when they shall say, What man is there that is fearful and faint-hearted? Let him go and return unto his house, lest his brethren's heart faint as well as his heart. And it shall be, when the officers have made an end of speaking unto the people, that they shall make captains of the armies to lead the people. When you come nigh unto a city to fight against it, then proclaim peace unto it. And it shall be, if it make you answer of peace and open unto you, then it shall be, that all the people that is found therein shall be tributaries unto you, and they shall serve you. And if it will make no peace with you, but make war against you, then you shall besiege it. And when Yahweh Elohika has delivered it into your hands, you shall smite every male thereof with the edge of the sword. But the women, and the little ones, and the cattle, and all that is in the city, even all the spoil thereof, shall you take unto yourself, and you shall eat the spoil of your enemies, which Yahweh Elohika has given you. Thus shall you do unto all the cities which are very far off from you, which are not of the cities of these nations, but of the cities of these people, which Yahweh Elohika gives you for an inheritance. You shall save alive nothing that breathes, but you shall utterly destroy them, namely, the Chittim, and the Amorim, the Kenanim, and the Perizim, the Chivim, and the Yebusim, as Yahweh Elohika has commanded you. That they teach you not to do after all their abominations, which they have done unto their Elohim, so should ye sin against Yahweh Elohika. When you shall besiege a city a long time in making war against it to take it, You shall not destroy the trees thereof by forcing an axe against them, for you may eat of them, and you shall not cut them down, for the tree of the field is man's life, to employ them in the siege. Only the trees which you know that they be not trees for meat, you shall destroy and cut them down. And you shall build bulwarks against the city that makes war with you, until it be subdued.
Debarim, Deuteronomy, chapter 21.
If one be found slain in the land which Yahweh Elohika gives you to possess it, lying in the field, and it be not known who has slain him, then your elders and your judges shall come forth, and they shall measure unto the cities which are round about him that is slain. And it shall be, that the city which is next unto the slain man, even the elders of that city, shall take a heifer, which has not been wrought with, and which has not drawn in the yoke. And the elders of that city shall bring down the heifer unto a rough valley, which is neither eared nor sown, and shall strike off the heifer's neck there in the valley. And the priests, the sons of Levi, shall come near, for them Yahweh Elohika has chosen to minister unto him, and to bless in the name of Yahweh, and by their word shall every controversy and stroke be tried. And all the elders of that city that are next unto the slain man shall wash their hands over the heifer that is beheaded in the valley. And they shall answer and say, Our hands have not shed this blood, neither have our eyes seen it. Be merciful, O Yahweh, unto your people, Yashrael, whom you have redeemed, and lay not innocent blood unto your people of Yashrael's charge, and the blood shall be forgiven them. So shall you put away the guilt of innocent blood from among you, when ye shall do that which is right in the sight of Yahweh.
Okay. I was just thinking about this. It's like, what do you draw from this about something happening? Obviously, we see some jurisdiction rules. The city that's closest next to it. I'm just wondering if Yahweh is making sure that jurisdiction presides over it. I guess realizing that proximity could equate to a most likely scenario. Like, the closer it is to a city, the more likely something happened within the jurisdiction of that city, whether inhabitants, whether it was on purpose, not on purpose. And, I failed to mention last chapter about, the difference with the manslaughter and murder, going along with judges and right ruling and diligently investigating a matter. Motive is incredibly important. And I think motive gets overlooked. And I think a motive is often misjudged, often due to emotional influence in entering the situation. And you especially see this, and that's why the Torah says not to follow a multitude, not to do evil. The general precept in our day sounds like a person, an individual can be smart, but when you get a group of people together, they can be very dumb. And that's what happens when emotions take charge of a group. It can take over very quickly and do some very heinous things that none of them would do individually, but it's like it strengthens together in numbers. And ultimately, in a good way, that's what we're trying to do by uniting, but also it can be united in an evil way with an unruly mob. Of course, even further, Tower of Babel stuff, doing an entire wicked building, for wicked purposes to reach heaven and replace it. Nevertheless, so discerning motive is absolutely paramount, because if there is this world where mercy and punishment exists, mercy, judgment, exists, motive has got to play a factor into that. And I think, again, motive is often misunderstood, overlooked, lightly regarded, imputed incorrectly, and I think it needs to be a much greater focus of deliberation for those of you who are in seats of right ruling. Motive is paramount, especially if there has to be a course of action, correction, punishment, whatever it may be, which is part of Torah. Only a rebellious mindset would not understand that punishment still exists even in assemblies today. And I'm not talking about whipping and stuff. That's not what I'm talking about, but corrective action in general. Okay, so also the proximity being a likely scenario of responsibility, to me also just gives me I don't know how they say it in the world, but and I don't even want to quote a worldly saying, but there is something about the most reasonable explanation it could be the most likely, it should be considered when deliberating a matter. And I think I could be wrong here, but there seems to be something about that, why Yahweh would choose the closest jurisdiction to at least take care of the matter. And then I was really thinking about it. We don't have elders of the city taking cows to a rough valley and striking off its neck. Pretty gruesome, in my opinion, and pretty hard. And I'll tell you, in a spiritual way, I've seen a group of people, specifically I can speak from experience, like our elder team, our council, which is now a group of 9 men, have put in countless hours sacrificing their time away from family, hours well into the night to deliberate matters, hard matters. And this is part of the group of people I'm saying are some of the best people I've ever met in my life. This is people that they're not striking off necks of cows to discern matters and to ask Yahweh's forgiveness and leading in their priesthood. And this is, obviously some of the things that I believe Yahusha's priesthood did bring with him, with the Melchizedek. Maybe Yahweh does want this restored at some time, but I believe that the time we're living in right now is under the Melchizedek priesthood. We're not doing this specifically, but there is a spiritual sense of this hard duty sometimes. There's times we're in there for 4 hours, well skipping dinner time, by discussing hard matters. And you're like, oh well, he skipped a dinner, but I mean, ask yourself, are you willing to do that on a daily and a weekly basis to make sure that Yahweh's right ruling is put forth? And I've seen a group of men that are laying their lives down, and all for the name of Yahweh and for the glory of Yahweh, and dealing with some hard matters that are honestly really hard. Really hard. And we've had some very hard and confusing things come our way. This is also where you see in these Torah portions where it's like, if there's a matter that's too hard for you, we don't have like a Jerusalem to go to, but as a group, we can certainly pray, if need be, fast and seek Yahweh, and he'll give us an answer. He always does. So anyways, also just being a former military man, just seeing the heart of you going to war and being like, just seeing the consideration on a very literal level, like, hey, if you just built a house and, hey, just go home. You just married a wife, hey, go home. It's okay. We got this. We got plenty of guys. Just go home. Oh man, that's awesome, And you saw some of David's heart in military campaigns with some of the guys just being totally exhausted, overworked, and like, we're going to stop here. We'll watch the stuff. You guys go. Okay, they come back, and some of the guys are like, the guys that stayed with the stuff, they don't get any spoil. It's all for us. And David's like, hush your mouth. These men who guarded our stuff, they get their portion just like you, right? So David was for the little guy and for the strong guys too. And I just super love that stuff. But in a similar way, you see some of those sentiments here, even in war. Like, hey, you know what? Just go spend some time with your wife. Go. We got this, bro. Sorry, I don't know why I'm talking like that. I don't talk like that. I'm sorry. Go home, brother. We've got this. We got this. And same thing, like, oh, you're scared, you're nervous? Go home, brother. We got this. Because we know that kind of like murmuring, backbiting, the enemy's coming at us with 5 vaccines in their hand and 55 marks of the beast on their belt. And like, okay, praise Yah. Well, we're coming in the name of Yahweh. They come to us with sword and shield and spear. We're standing in the name of Yahweh. Why are we fearing what man can do to us? So the point is that like that fear, it spreads in camps very quickly. So it's just like, hey, just go home. We got this, brother. May Yahweh be with you. No worries. Yeah, we'll catch you on the next campaign. Hallelujah. And it's not even about rebuking that brother whose heart is fearful. Just, it's fine. The handful of us will handle it. The 150 of us, the 300 of us, the 144,000 of us, whatever it is. Anyways. But as far as the military campaign, there is going to be one coming in the days. At some point, Yahusha is going to, rule in the midst of his enemies. His people will rule in the midst of their enemies. There will be a military campaign, and they'll knock on the city doors, and they'll be ready and fortified, and we'll be like, hey, we're here in the name of Yahusha. We're here to make sure the Torah of Yahweh is in each land, and they may be like, yeah, well, we've seen all these things happening. We see that Yahweh is with you. We will certainly be in subjection to all that you say and do. Okay, hallelujah. And then, of course, the ones that resist, that's for another time. We'll get into that another time. Ultimately, we're in the time of fishing. Hunting comes later. Right now, we focus on fishing. We can talk more about hunting later, because none of us will be hunters unless we are lambs first. He'll turn his men into lions when it's time. Right now, we need to be lambs, laying down our lives for men and for the salvation of men, rather than, we're not here to be militias and picking up spears right now and subduing nations. That's not the time. Right now is the time of he's waiting for every last soul to come to him. Then when he says it's time, then that switch will be flipped. Sorry, I used to suffer from dyslexia pretty bad, and I used to stutter pretty bad, but it's gotten a lot better over the years, praise Yahweh. But it still comes out here. Jeremiah 16:14, therefore, behold, the days come, says Yahweh, that it shall no more be said, Yahweh lives, that brought up the children of Israel out of the land of Egypt. But Yahweh lives, that brought up the children of Israel from the land of the north, and from all the lands where he had driven them. And I will bring them again into their land that I gave to their fathers. Behold, I will send for many fishers, says Yahweh, and they shall fish them, and after that I will send for many hunters, and they shall hunt them from every mountain and from every hill and out of the holes in the rocks. For my eyes are upon their ways, and they are not hid from my face, neither is their iniquity hid from mine eyes. So we know that this hunting is not for to snare them to come dwell with Yahweh. No, that's not it. He wants the willing people, not the ones that have to be trapped. But those who are trapped, of course, are for other purposes. So anyways, I thought it was also interesting here that not to cut down the fruitful trees, but only the trees that do not give fruit. And of course, there's a lot of spiritual discernment with that. John the Baptist said, hey, bring forth fruit now, because the axe is laid to the tree, and the ones that don't bring forth good fruit is cut down and thrown in the fire. And ultimately, that is what I'm seeing coming on the land over there, is a group of branches that have removed or that don't believe in Yahusha. Matter of fact, their book says that he's burning in hell in feces. And so I think their time is up. I think that their destruction is coming. And I think we're going to see that very soon, because it says right here, abide in me, and I in you, as a branch cannot bear fruit of itself except it abide in the vine. No more can you except you abide in me. Verse 6, if a man abide not in me, he is cast forth as a branch and is withered, and men gather them and cast them into the fire, and they are burned. And I believe that's ultimately, again, if you do a careful search of Ezekiel 21 through 24, understanding that he's clearly talking about Jerusalem there, and ultimately Jerusalem gets the double cup because he gets what was given to Samaria into her hands, so she has the double cup. I believe we're about to see the sword doubled for the third time over in that land. When, I don't know the day of the hour, but I guess I would say that I believe it's coming very soon. See, in our generation, and I think a lot of people are feeling that, and so anyways, get up your loins, brothers and sisters. The time is near. I just want to finish off with a quick prayer. Actually, before we do, I want to share, we have the Ancient Path Revival site, a lot of things here. Events coming up, the calendar. We now have the calendar with the weekly Torah portions here. Yeah, so if you click on it, it'll tell you, this is January here. I'm like, we're behind already. Okay, yeah, Torah portion. Yeah, so this week right here, right? Oh my gosh, it's wrong. No, we're here. Oh, right here. I'm sorry. Yeah, praise yeah. Okay, we're in this week right here. I'm recording right here, and so yeah, this week we're doing this Torah portion. All right, cool. So yeah, now we have this, and then we have like the feast days coming up, Passover on here. So praise Yah for my wife and for Brother Dave. For putting the work in here. We have the upcoming events, the feast day season, Pastor event, Hebrew Fest coming up, registration there, Fellowship Finder, awesome tool, all this kind of stuff. So ancientpathrevivals.com, ancientpathrevivals.com. Thank you, Yahweh, for my wife, who I love so much and is so diligent and such a hard worker, and talking about countless hours. I mean, just as soon as Josiah goes to sleep, she's got office hours until the wee hours to just do so much. And so I'm so thankful for her. May Yahweh bless her. Keep her in your prayers, please. My wife, Victoria. Just general request for prayers for her health. Thank you so much. I love her dearly, and just thankful for the home. I'm thankful for the home that Yahweh is creating, that He created. The husband, the wife, the children. And when they're achad in the ruach, there's just nothing like it. And the children start being in subjection and reverent and caring for Yah, loving the Word, singing praise to Him, dancing to Him. Then you have families that are in the same mind, coming together, doing the same thing. Brothers and sisters, there's just nothing like it. It's how goodly are the tabernacles of Yahweh. It's just, there's nothing more beautiful. Let's pray, and then I'm going to play a new song by my 10-year-old son, Daniel. Heavily involved. He did he started the bass line for it. I helped him with some of the other sounds, but the vocals are him, and I'm just proud of my 10-year-old. I'm proud of my children who are just thirsting to make praise and worship music to Yah, and so I just couldn't be happier as a father. And so I want this same shalom that I'm being lavished by Yahweh with. I want that for everyone, and Yahweh is merciful. He's loving. Just stick with Him. Don't let enemy pull you away. Heavenly Father, we just come before you in Yahusha's name. Just bless you. Thank you for salvation, for the blood of Yahusha. Thank you for true teaching, true shepherds. Abba, continue to raise them up, Abba. Raise up strong leaders for these homes and for these assemblies. And may your Ruach shower upon us. The latter rain, maybe this time. May your plants grow up. May your branches grow up in Yahusha's name. Amen. Hallelujah. So this is Peace as the River. Daniel, my 10-year-old, and I, we did a song based off of Isaiah 48. And, oh, had you hearkened to my commandments, and your peace had been as the rivers and the streams. And I just couldn't be happier. Praise you. I love you all. Shabbat shalom.
Thus says my Elohim, hearken diligently to the law faithfully, and will your peace be as the rivers and the stream, the weight of the sea. Jacob, sing me, Yahweh, redeem me. Thus says my Elohim, hearken diligently to the law faithfully, and will your peace be as the rivers and the stream, the weight of the sea. Jacob, sing me, Yahweh, redeem me. Do his pleasure on Babylon, and his arm shall be on the Chaldeans. I, even I have spoken, yea, I have called him, I have brought him, and he shall make his way prosperous. Thus says my Elohim, hearken diligently to the law faithfully, then will your peace be as the rivers and the stream, the weight of the sea. Jacob, sing me, Yahweh, redeem me. Thus says my Elohim, hearken diligently to the law faithfully, then will your peace be as the rivers and the stream, the weight of the sea. Jacob, sing me, Yahweh, redeem me. 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 Go ye forth of Babylon, flee ye from the Chaldeans, with a voice singing, declare ye, tell this, utter it even to the end of the earth, say ye, Yahweh has redeemed his servant Jacob. Thus says my Elohim, hearken diligently to the law faithfully, then will your peace be the wind of the sea. Jacob singing, Yahuwah redeemed me.